All right, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Welcome to your revision session for this term. So we are going to recap or revise everything that we have done so far, which includes the following topic: family traits, genealogy, environmental hazard, which includes erosion, flooding, bush burning, and deforestation. All right, starting with family traits. I believe you all will remember what family trait is. We are going to revise it quite again. Firstly, before you understand family traits, you need to understand what traits are. So traits are what characteristics that one has inherited from his or her own parents. You understand? Or characteristics that have been passed down over generations now. Now there are two types of characteristics. There are those that are physical and those that are behavioral. Understand what I mean by physical. One, those that reflect on your appearance, and those are what? They are those that are behavioral. That means the pattern at which you behave or at which you respond to things. Now, another one is what? You have two types of traits, dominant trait and recessive trait. Now, the dominant trait is what the one that expresses itself most, right? That means it marks the what? The recessive trait. It's like an overlay, right? Your recessive trait marks by what? The dominant trait. So whatever people are seeing of you is mostly what? The dominant trait. And with a what? Recessive trait that has been hidden behind. Is that okay with you? So examples of traits that could be dominant are things like the nature of your hair, your dimples, your hair locks, and the rest. Right? Another thing that can be those traits that can be recessive are things like your hair color, your eye color, and the rest of it. Right? Like I told you, based on recent scientific studies, majority of recessive traits has to do with behavioral traits. Right? Maybe like rolling of tongue. They have been hidden in the gene actually. Now, importance of knowing our family traits. Now, it helps us to easily trace down our ancestors. Believe me, some people are able to trace down their ancestors even to the time of the prophet, right? Showing similarities among family members. That's why when you see a kid, most likely like, it is easy for you to ask, so child, you are the son of so person. As a result of what? Family traits or characteristics that have been passed down from the parent to the what? To the child, right? Same thing, it also have its own disadvantage. That means as you are passing down characteristics of the positive future from a parent to a child, you will also pass down what? Negative futures or characteristics from a parent to a child, which include what? Hereditary diseases. These are diseases that can be what? Transferred from a parent to a child as a result of childbirth. You have things like diabetes, sickle cells, and the rest of it. All right, let's move to the next one, family genealogy. This is all about studying your family history, knowing who are your forefathers, your grandparents, knowing things about your culture and the rest of it, right? So we have a family tree showing what? Parents, children, grandchildren, and great grandchildren. I believe we did this in class on a form of assignment where I asked you to draw your own immediate family tree, right? So it helps you to understand your cultural background, your family roots, and family tradition, just like I've mentioned earlier. This is an example of what a family tree looks like as a result of what family genealogy, study of family, someone's family. Now, next you have what environmental hazard. Environmental hazard simply means what anything or any phenomenon that poses threat to the environment. Is that okay with you? We have the first one is what erosion, which we say what is the washing away of the what of the topmost soil, right? Washing away of the what topmost soil, which result as in what which occurs as a result of what? Cutting down of trees. When there's no trees, there's no tree to reduce water currents, air currents, the topsoil is blown or washed away, right? Overgrazing, right? That's why it is very important to have cover crops in our environment. Overgrazing as a result of animals can lead to a very bad effect like soil erosion. You have poor farming method. Now, if you see that the topology of your farmland is too sloppy due to a result of overtime farming, it is better for you to adopt what the right farming method to correct this. Heavy rainfall and lastly, lack of drainage system, which is highly common in Nigeria. You have areas that have zero or what bad drainage system. Now the next one is what effect and control of what soil erosion. These are the result of what soil erosions are control measures we can take to prevent them. Now, current soil erosion can lead to loss of fertile land, loss of crops, loss of properties, and the rest of it like that. Now, how do we prevent it? By planting trees, terracing on slopes, like I told you. If the topology of your farmland is slopy, you perform what? The right appropriate method, which is terracing. Control grazing of farming, and lastly, avoid bush burning so that you don't destroy the vegetation of the place to control what wind and water flow. Now we move down to flooding, which we say what when the piece of land or surrounding is being overflown by water or submerged in water, right? It is either it is being overflown by water or was submerged in water. What are the common causes? We have heavy rainfall, block drainage of waters, rivers and dams overflowing, poor town planning. Very, very, very bad. Just imagine that someone is building a house at an extreme end of a drainage, and that drainage now has to be what? Converted or diverted to another direction. That's like a 90-degree turn. And when water overflows, we are in trouble because your house is just created another mess. Now, effect and prevention of what flooding. These are the what possible effect of what flooding. Loss of lives and property. Believe you me, you can lose a good sum of life as a result of flooding. For example, now look at the Mokwa flooding, look at the Kogi flooding, and the rest of it. Outbreak of disease, like good source of water are being polluted at the end of the day as a result of what different substances that are being washed into it. Now, damage of road and houses, that one has to come with it. The loss of vegetation. Even though you farm a farmland, farm a rice farm that requires enough water and it is flooded, it means a total waste. So how do we prevent it? Construction of drainage system, avoiding dumping refuge in gutters so that we don't clog them. Proper town planning and what? Planting of trees to absorb this water or reduce water point. Now we move to the next one. So lastly, we said what? We also talk about bush burning is down also, and we said what? Bush burning is occurs as a result of what? Burning down of trees. Is that okay with you? It occurs as a result of what? Burning down of trees. Now we said it can be either by natural occurrence or by what? Or by man-made occurrence. What is the difference? Natural occurrence is when it happens as a result of natural phenomenon or natural happenings. Then human-made result is as a result of what? Man-made activities. For example, now example of natural causes are maybe like lightning, wildfire, things like that. Maybe you understand. Then lastly, we have what human-made activity, which can be maybe poaching, that is illegal hunting, using of fire to smoke out animals, gas leakage, and the rest of it. Gas leakage has to do with people that camp in the forest as well. Now, how do we prevent this? By strictly making what forest regulation rules, right? By providing proactive steps, having fire service on ground, right? By we not smoking or lighting cigarette and throwing anyhow, right? Now, do not light fires during windy days, right? Those are possible preventive measures that we can take. Now, lastly, we have what desertification, right? Desertification, this is as a result of what? Where a vegetative land is being encroached by what? By sand, right? The whole vegetative side of the land is being covered by what? Sand. It's as a result of what? Desert encroachment. That means when taking sand or particles from another region and covering the vegetative cover of a specific region, right? Now, what causes it? Right? Proper management of the desert. Like no one cares about it. Barriers are supposed to be made for those things so that even though they will overflow, they will flow at their own boundary. Number two, now lack of watering of the vegetative cover, right? Or let's just say the natural one, which can be as a result of drought. Next, we have what artificial farming or agricultural propagation. One of the countries that highly leveraged this practice was the Chinese, which actually turned the whole desert into a vegetative cover in just 7 years. So these are some causes and some ways we can prevent them. So with this, I believe we'll be the end of our class or revision session, and I wish you all best of luck. do well to read your materials that have been provided for you in the Google Classroom. Assalamu alaikum.